let's wait.
Okay. Should be.
Here, meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
There you go.
Okay.
So we're even 2 minutes early here. 2 minutes early is good.
Okay, got it.
Okay. All right. So just let me see. Okay. Okay. So I'm ready to go. And let's get rid of this. And let's have that. So Noam, are you ready to for You've Got Mel?
Mel, I am ready for You've Got Mel.
Okay, so let's. We're starting 20 seconds early, which is some kind of record. But here we go. We start out with the jingle, of course. Can't start out without the jingle, you know.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, we'll do that. And we are on. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We're not going. Play.
Get a chair, grab a seat, or we'll sweep you up.
Yeah.
We groove, you got Mel. Ease your legs, rest a while. All you gotta do is smile. We're swell, can't you tell? You got Mel. Oh, when the show begins, you better hold on tight. Or before you know it, you'll be high as a kite. Take a break, settle down. We're the only show in town. It's our road, don't you know? You got Mel. Give it up, don't think twice. We're a hurricane on ice. What the hell? Give it yell, ring a bell, show and tell. Mademoiselle, give it smell. You got Mel. You've got Mel.
And Mel has the one and only Noam Zur. Just let me put myself in here. Yay. Noam. So
Hey there.
we always start off the show by asking our interviewees what their favorite Beatles song is.
Wow, it's like asking what's my favorite child, you know. But I think the thing that comes up to mind right now is Golden Slumbers.
Can you play a few bars?
Let's see.
I never give you my money. Okay, so we know that we can't do it synchronously on Zoom, but we can dream about it.
We can dream about it. That's
So, so Noam, you're wearing at least two hats today. You're an entrepreneur, a technology person, and also a musical celebrity. So, where do you want to start?
Let's start music. I've been playing the guitar since the age of 12. I picked up the guitar after the Beatles performed on the Ed Sullivan Show, and I knew this was my calling. And I've heard about 10 million people. Other people have just picked it up the same day. Like I know Bill Joel basically started playing piano on that day as well. And I've been playing the guitar since the age of 12, around 20 years, obviously.
Give or take a few years.
It will take a few years. I've had a band when I was 16 and 17. I actually lived in New York City, so I came back to Israel. I had a band. It was called the Snobs, mainly because we were the only band in the city that went to high school. So we were called the Snobs. Others just worked all day. And in the army, I performed with I went to La Tzva'it. I played the bass guitar there. When I went to the audition, they already had a fantastic guitar player, Shmulik Budagov, who's very well known. So I had to go to the bass. I didn't know how to play the bass, but I picked it up quite fast. And ever since I've been playing the guitar, you know, And I'm back to guitar now. Now is a great time for me because of the coronavirus. I bring friends over to my house at the garden, and we do Beatles and we do other stuff. I bring the flutist, I bring the clarinet player. I play with Shai Tochner. So it's fun.
And but when you were young, first of all, you weren't the only musician to go to high school because Simon and Garfunkel also went to high school
Yeah,
together.
that was in Jerusalem, not in New York City. You're right. In Jerusalem, we were the only band who went to high school.
Didn't you mention New York?
Sorry?
Didn't you mention?
No, I lived in New York. When I came back to Israel, I had a band in Israel. It was called the Snobs, and this is where they were called the Snobs because we went to high school, other than went to work.
Uh-huh. And how did you become a celebrity?
First of all, I didn't know I was a celebrity, but at a certain point in my time, when I was in my 20s, I had two television shows.
How did that happen?
I have a very good friend who was he was in La Catsway with me. He's a professor of music today. His name is Nami Leaf, and he played a keyboard. And he had a show which was called Kisaot Music, musical chairs, Kisaot Musical, and they were looking for somebody to do a guitar tutoring show. So I was auditioned. I was in my 20s. I looked good. I played good. I knew how to. I was quite good in front of the camera. So they asked me to write a script. So we did the first script. And the idea was that in every show I would bring a celebrity to play with me a song. And usually, we go from 2 chord songs to 6 chord songs, and we would basically have some kind of a sheet music of chords for the songs and the lyrics, and would send them out by mail by post, basically, to people. And it was quite popular, I think. And then I had a second series, which was called Tevat Noam, like Tevat Noach, yeah, Noam's Ark.
Noah, instead of Noah's Ark, Noam's Ark.
And it was pretty much the same stuff. I had a record shop, and people like Zvika Pick would come and want to buy a record. We'd talk about it, and I would be the Mel Rosenberg of that show, and I would interview him, and then we'd play a song together. That was it.
You've got Noam.
You've got no, yeah, pretty much you've got Noam.
So among the celebrities that you interviewed, who do you remember?
Oh, I had Shlomo Artzi, Zvika Pick, anybody who's been anybody that time, all the celebrities that time.
But how many TV channels were there at the time?
It was only one. So I was a monopoly. I was in black and white as well.
No, but so you were 20 some odd years old.
Yeah.
And people would stop you on the street and say, "Hey, you're Noam from the television."
Yeah, but yeah, they did. What I did after that, because I'm an entrepreneur, I worked in an advertising agency in Jerusalem, and I met a guy there, and we decided to do a self-tutoring kit for guitar playing. So we had, it was a cassette at that time, a brochure and a cassette, and we would actually take the car and drive around the country and sell it to record shops or to bookshops, and we did very well that time. So it was like music and entrepreneurship, two things I usually do.
If I knew we were going to talk about cassettes, I have some here in the cupboard, but we're live now. So now is the time for you to play a little tune from way back when.
Okay, what do you want to hear?
Whatever. You've got Mel, Noam. It's your show. We have here 400,000 people waiting to hear you.
I'll do a little blues.
Okay.
Bass tone. Oh yeah.
Bravo, bravo, bravo. In your 20s, you were making a living basically as a musician entrepreneur.
Yeah. After I actually opened the music school. I read an article about.
I didn't know that. You had a music school?
I'll tell you a story. I read an article about a Japanese guy called Suzuki, and he had his. It was called the Suzuki methodology of teaching the violin. What I figure out of it, I mean, there was probably much more than I figured out. What I figured out, he was actually teaching a groups. So what I instead of tutoring a one-on-one, I said, I'll go and teach groups, which basically it's more lucrative. It makes more sense in terms economically. So I went to schools I lived in Jerusalem that time. Went to high schools, and I used my X factor, celebrity factor, and I went to the principal, the headmaster, and I would tell him, listen, I want to go to the schools, open the doors for me, and on every group of 5 people, you can choose the 6th for free. Somebody who's so I had about 800 students all around in Jerusalem.
Wow.
And I took 3 or 4 guitar teachers and pretty much put it all, like put the Suzuki method. It wasn't really Suzuki, but basically learning guitar from scratch on playing chords, harmonies, and that was it. And I did that until one day my father came home with a Time magazine, which had Steve Jobs on the cover. Said, "Read this. This is what you should do in life," and it pretty much transformed my life.
So what year was that?
That was 1980, 81, maybe 80.
Oh, right at the beginning.
Yeah, just when Apple was founded, and Apple II, Apple IIe.
So you're kind of like a very brilliant and handsome kind of Forrest Gump. You were in a couple of right places at the right time.
Yeah.
So then what happened after you met Steve Jobs? What happened?
No, I didn't meet Steve Jobs, but I read an article. Until that time, computers for me was when I thought of computers, I thought of people who studied with me in high school, nerds. But the article was about Steve Jobs and how he did the first rock festival for Apple. So this is my guy. That's what I. So I picked up the phone about a couple of days later, and I called the Apple distributor in Jerusalem. And he said, "What do you know?" I said, "I know how to sell." And I started working the following day. And from there on, one thing led to another, and I worked for another company and that company. And ever since, basically, I've been in technology, though I'm not a high-tech guy. I'm a low-tech guy, but technology is where I wanted to be. This is what, the kind of people.
I just thought of a song that we should sing.
What?
I'm a low-tech guy, but we can get high.
I don't think I know this song.
No, I just wrote it.
Okay. There's a song by what's his name, the Alan Olarchik. I'm an analog guy in a digital world.
Exactly.
That's pretty much me also. So I've been working in high tech, and I started in corporate high tech in HP. I worked there for 6 years, which probably was about 5 years and 11 months too long. But there wasn't anything else. I wanted to leave, and I went to another company, IBM, and they told me, it's pretty much more of the same. It was either HP, IBM, or at that time there was a company called DEC, digital equipment. But as soon as the startup started, I joined a startup called Magic Software, and I had to pretty much put everything together on my own. I didn't know, they wanted to sell abroad, all over the world. So I had distributors all over the world, and I would hop on a plane and go to Brazil and whatever. And pretty much that in my life changed, and I was mostly on the planes. I would, depending on the company, because each company had a different hub. For Magic was the Benelux, for another company was Rio de Janeiro, third one was the US, and so forth. So that's what I did most of my career life. And the interesting fact is that I dropped my guitar. I didn't play at that time.
That was my next question.
I didn't play. I didn't play mainly because in Magic, I was the like number two guy in Magic. I was the VP sales, and people would say, this is the guy from the guitar of Noam. So at that time, being a rock guitarist and a guy who does the VP sales of a public company didn't go together in the perception of the board, not in my perception, of the people basically. And I really got back to the guitar when I worked for a company called Midbar, which was a technology for music. I sold to record labels. And I noticed that all the executives of record labels are musicians. So I would go to, for example, Japan. I would travel a lot to Japan. And the guy who headed the record label in Japan was a guitar player. So we'd do Beatles together. And, I realized that it's okay to be a rock musician and be a VP sales for a company. It goes well together. And ever since I'm playing music, I haven't stopped for a second.
So how many years did you stop for?
Around 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah. But playing the guitar is like a bicycle, you get back. And I actually play better today than I did at that time because, there's a maturity element when you play the guitar. You should know this, You mature, you play different. You play.
Well, I went back to the piano after 40 years. So how crazy is that?
And do you play today as good as you played before or even better?
No, I play much better today.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, see?
But yeah, because it's a maturity thing. That's what you say when you have no alternative.
That's the only alternative.
So here's the question I've been meaning to ask you. I've known you for like over 10 years, and you're such a nice, humble, and modest guy. Very easy.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, very easygoing. But what were you like when you were really what were you like when you were really Noam Guitarra, like the famous Noam from the only channel of television in Israel, and everybody knew you? Were you just as modest then?
I don't think it's an issue of being modest, but I didn't earn enough. I wasn't actually on the payroll of the TV station. There was some sort of arrangement. So, and I wasn't earning a lot of money, and I was writing the script and everything, and all that. So I came to the guy who was handling the salaries there, and the HR guy, and I said, I'm not earning enough. He said, you should be thankful. You're getting. Basically, we're advertising. You're getting publicity. That's the money. So I said, okay, fuck you, and I left. So I didn't really care about. I felt that I was being used. Because everybody got. And I left, and I did other stuff. So that's okay.
But no, we're always being used by one. Zoom is using us now, and Facebook is using us now as we speak, and.
Yeah, but you're right. But I was younger that time, and I was, young people, rebels. That.
You noticed that you didn't answer my question. Were you always this modest, easygoing, lovely guy that we all know you?
I wouldn't define myself as modest, easygoing. I think I was easygoing. Yes, I was pretty much easygoing most of the time. Yeah, I go with the flow.
Yeah. So you only started learning music when you were 12 years old?
No, I actually, when I was 6 years old, my parents sent me to the Jerusalem Conservatory for Music, and I studied the recorder for 2 years. And then I studied the violin for 2 years.
I knew it. I was going to guess.
Yeah, I studied.
You're a closet violinist.
Yeah, no, closet. But the neighbors, we had a problem with the neighbors when I played.
Because the neighbors wanted you to be a closet violinist.
Yeah, so,
play in the closet.
So I had to give it up. Actually, I was happy to give it up because I didn't like it. But it was, I had a Russian teacher, and most of the time she would pull my ears, and I had those big ears because I didn't play the right tone and all that. But I think it was a good base for picking up the guitar because basically I know how to read notes, though I don't use it, by the way. But the harmonies and everything.
So do you want to play a song and then we'll ask you a few more questions?
Yeah. Let me see what we can play. Yeah, let's do a song. just improvising.
Beautiful. So tell us about your new initiative.
Okay, it's actually a venture. It's called Hafla. You know what Hafla means?
Yeah, hafla is like a party
It's a party
in Arabic.
Yes, and we base this is actually the Arabic thing is that what's important about it. It's in Arabic, but we use it in Hebrew as well. And it's a venture that connects the Israeli tech ecosystem with the tech ecosystems of the Arab nations.
Oh, wow.
And we're already mentoring. We have Israeli mentors mentoring under the radar, e-mentoring, basically by Zoom, Arab startups all over the Arab world. And we are aiming at opening an accelerator outside Israel. Everything will be outside Israel because basically it's Arabs and Israelis. We're looking for a neutral place. We're thinking of Berlin, which is like center of Europe, great tech hub. And we want to do annual summit of tech leaders of the Arab world and Israeli world. And this is what I'm doing. And it's a nonprofit.
That's
so
amazing.
I'm raising money now. If anybody hears I'm raising now money for the nonprofit. Our co-partner, my co-partners are the co-founders, basically, Israeli and Arab. So it's like a balanced venture with Israeli and Arab co-founders. And I feel like it's the most important thing I've done in my life, in my career life.
Wow.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Because I think I'm doing something which I haven't done before in my life. I'm doing something that I think will leave a legacy on this planet.
That's really important.
Bringing together people, we're musicians, Mel. What musicians can do is basically bring people together. That's what music does.
Yeah. Look how many people I brought for you today.
Yeah, and and the fun thing about it, we went to a meeting with this thing, and there was an Indian guy who lives in the U.S. in Alabama, and we started playing the guitar together, and everybody was gathered around us singing Beatles and all that. So you can see that music brings people together, and my idea is basically to use music and communication skills to bring people together. In this case, Arab entrepreneurs and Israeli entrepreneurs.
So maybe what I should do is bring Arabs and Israelis together to sing Beatles songs.
Oh yeah.
Why? Who needs the money and the angst of startups and VCs and pitch decks when you can just sit with a guitar and sing Beatles songs?
It's true. It's true. I mean, nobody's going to pay them, but it's true. Make a living out of it.
So Noam, what is your wish for the future when we get out of this?
My future now, pretty much my personal wish for the future, obviously, for everybody to be healthy and all that, is that for my venture to be successful at the end of the day. I'm really hopeful that I can pull it up together and bring together all the plans and make it happen.
So you're not making money right now?
No, I'm making money. I'm consulting. I'm basically working with Israeli high-tech companies consulting, but everything that I'm making goes into this.
Wow. You want to talk about your brother for a few minutes?
Which one?
Well, you and I share having brothers that are a highly internationally successful people.
Yeah. I have two brothers.
Yes.
Both of them live in the States. One, and my older brother, his name is Nitzan, always says we're three brothers. One was a millionaire. He was a millionaire. The other one is a millionaire now, is my younger brother. And the third one lives like a millionaire. That's me.
So you're skirting the question again. So how is it to have a very, very successful brother?
he's my bro. I view him as my brother. The fact that he's very successful has nothing to do with it. When he wasn't successful, I loved him just as much. He is very successful. He's very smart. He's a great entrepreneur. He's a risk taker. Both of them, by the way. My older brother was also, he also started very well. He went a little bit down. He had to leave Israel and all that. But they're both very, very smart guys, entrepreneurial spirit. And, I love them as brothers. I don't care whether he's successful. That means nothing to me.
Okay, great. And why are you the only brother who stayed in Israel?
Well, I'm not only, but I'm the only guy in the family who stayed in Israel. My two children live in the States. I don't know, my younger brother married an American girl. My older brother also married an American girl. My son went to study in Harvard. My daughter is in New Jersey right now. She has 4 children. Uh, I love Israel. I love this country.
That's a good reason for staying.
Yeah, and I have a mother here. I have a 93-year-old mother, and I'm not looking after her in terms of being with her, but she has a 24/7 caretaker. But I'm there for her. She needs someone to play the guitar for her. I'm there for her.
So what songs do you play for your mother?
You wouldn't believe it. Her most favorite song is Que sera sera.
Oh,
Day.
so can you play a little bit? And by the way, your mother is remarkable. I know her.
Let's do it. When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what would I be? Would I be happy? Would I be rich? That's what she said to me. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. She sings it with me.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So I have to play songs. She's trilingual. She's Argentinian, so I do Spanish songs, Hebrew songs, and English songs. And she's suffering for dementia. She's 93, but music brings her back to life.
Wow.
Keep playing the guitar, Noam. Keep playing the guitar. I have to go. No, stay here and play the guitar for me.
Yeah, there's nothing like music.
Nothing.
Nothing like music. So, Noam, last question. What have I not asked you? What would you like to talk about today? We haven't talked about.
I want to talk about you.
No. This is the program where I interview my friends and wonderful people like you.
No, I think you asked me everything. If anything else you want to. I'm. Although it's Corona times now, I'm really. I don't know what I should say or not, but I think I learned how to enjoy life right now with friends coming to play music. I start every morning. I started swimming, by the way. So I go every morning to the pool.
Wow.
I'm sunburned. You can see that.
Yeah.
I work on my chafla thing, and then I bring friends over to play Beatles with me. So I've got got lots on my hands right now.
So, in order to sum this up, the most important question is, who is the best of the Beatles?
I always loved George Harrison.
I knew you were going to say that.
I always love, and there are a couple of reasons. One, he is my mentor or so-called role model in guitar playing. When I play the guitar, I always have George in my mind. A bit like Eric Clapton, like soft hand.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that too. Shit.
Plus, I think George Harrison was a late bloomer. He worked with those two geniuses. He couldn't get a song out. But once he got out of the band disbanded, so much talent. He was also a very nice, shy guy, low key. So he was my favorite.
So are you a shy guy?
No, I'm not shy. No, I'm not shy at all.
So you said he was also a shy guy.
No, also like you.
I like me being a shy person. I'm a very shy person.
Yeah, see? No, he was a shy guy. I'm not a shy guy. I meant he was a humble guy. You know, he actually, from what have you seen the movie done by Scorsese?
Not yet.
He did a movie on George Harrison, a documentary.
I love all of them.
Yeah, look, they're all great, but you said
I
who was your favorite?
I'm a McCartney guy because of his melody lines.
McCarthy is a genius in melodies. John was a genius in lyrics, and
Yeah,
John was a better lyricist. But George was something. George had a story, you know, late blooming, and
and I love Ringo.
yeah,
I love Ringo. I think he's like, sometimes my students think that he wasn't such a great drummer, but he's a magnificent drummer.
he's an amazing
And
drummer.
if people say that he's not a good drummer, they don't understand what being a drummer in a band is all about.
And you know when I saw some interviews with him. He's left-handed like McCartney, but
Like
unlike
like us.
like us. But unlike McCartney, he had to play with his right hand the drums because that's how it started. So that gave him a lot of different technique. You know, that was amazing.
Hmm.
A left-handed guy playing a right-handed drum, but he's
Absolutely.
yeah, amazing.
So how about finish off this wonderful, very laid back and friendly interview with a George Harrison tune?
Okay, let's do it. Yeah,
We didn't talk about box set. Do you want to talk about box set?
Boxat is a band. I have a very good friend. We had a band together when we were youngsters in Jerusalem. We were the age of 17. It was part of the Snobs, and we still are very good friends. And we walk every Saturday on the beach together. And one day, I think it was like 8 years ago, he said, "You know, don't you feel like going back and playing rock and roll? You know, same songs." We say, "Yeah, but you know, who's going to listen?" So he said, "Look, let's go and find a place where we can perform." So we went to Tvuna. We knocked on the door. It was like midday, and somebody opened. Said, "Can we meet the manager?" It was a guy called Ilan. I said, "Yeah, I'm the manager. What do you want?" He said, "We want to play here." "Who the fuck are you guys? What do you?" She said, "What do we need to do?" I said, "You know," so we told, "Listen, let's book a place. We'll pay if nobody comes." And it was sold out, you know. So and
All your shows are
no,
completely
no,
sold out.
yeah, most of the songs were sold out, and you know we had a concept basically that every show we never did the same show. Every show had a different playlist. We would bring different artists, and we would tell different jokes. We didn't actually tell jokes, but we did different stuff. So our audience knew that there was always a surprise there. And we would bring three artists to play, you know, the show. We had a girl who sang, and a boy sang. We would start with an instrumental, with the shadows or whatever. So it went very well. And actually, our last one was supposed to be a few days before the Segel, but obviously we
The
canceled it,
lockdown.
the lockdown. Obviously we canceled it, and so you know, I'm playing with friends now.
Very well. So we have to get together.
Yeah, we should.
It's been too long, my friend, and this was a wonderful opportunity to say hello to one of my dear friends and to introduce my audience to a remarkable guy. So, Noam Zur, stay well, stay healthy, and continue to inspire us with music, with reaching out among Israel and the Arab world. And if God is listening, may He bless you and the rest of us.
Thank you not so much for having me.
Take care, my
Bye,
friend.
bye, love, bye.